Hello and welcome to the 45th episode of Fresh Off the Reel. My name is Lib.
And my name is Pat. I don't have a bit for this one. We're just going into it.
You haven't had bits for a while.
I had a bit last time.
You did, but that was because last time was different.
I'll have a bit for the next one. Maybe we'll see.
Is that a promise?
No.
Well, okay. Well, you're gonna have to tune in to check. But today we're gonna be talking about the third movie in the Cornetto Trilogy. We're finally finishing it. When did we start this?
This is the second marathon we're finishing technically.
Yeah, it is. Gee, oh wow.
We're 2 for 2, 2 in a row.
Two in a row. Actually, two in a row. This
we
is
started.
great.
We started this the first ever Spooktober. It was the first movie.
Yep, the first Spooktober movie was Shaun of the Dead. And last season we talked about Hot Fuzz. And it's only fitting that for season 3 we finish this trilogy with The World's End.
I mean, hopefully we also go beyond this trilogy for the said director because he's a director we both enjoy. Edgar Wright, but yeah, we're here.
Yeah, and actually
We're
as of me watching The World's End, I have seen every Edgar Wright movie.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Lib had not seen this one before we had planned this episode, and we watched it together a couple days ago.
It was really fun. This movie's really good.
It's a fun one. I liked it more this rewatch than I did the first time. Not to say I didn't like it the first time, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah. Well, let's talk cinema. So, The World's End, like I said before, third movie in the Cornetto trilogy, the final movie. This is the mint flavored one. Cool.
Yeah.
This came out in 2013. So let's read the plot synopsis here. This is from Letterboxd. Good food, fine ales, and total annihilation. Five friends who reunite in an attempt to top their epic pub brawl from 20 years earlier unwittingly become humankind's only hope for survival. And that's it. It's important to keep the description of this movie vague because there's a lot of surprises here.
Yeah, I feel like the less you know about this one going into it, the better. Like, I mean, we're getting into it, so spoilers ahead if you haven't seen The World's End. But Liv, did you see that twist coming, or did you think it would just be a bar hopping movie with a couple buddies reliving their past?
Well, I knew something had to happen because I read this before we watched
It's also an Edgar Wright movie. So.
Yeah, it's also an Edgar Wright movie. But like I read this and I was like, humankind's only hope for survival. I was like, okay. I was not expecting aliens, but in the back of my mind I kind of was.
I didn't see this one coming. I mean, I saw this movie like a long time ago, like around when it came out. I didn't see it in theaters though, so I did not see that twist coming. Probably should have. I think the only Edgar Wright movie that plays it straight is Baby Driver, or at least of his big movies. Baby Driver plays it pretty straight.
I mean, Shaun of the Dead plays it pretty straight too, but if you ignore the fact that it's about zombies.
Yeah, it plays it straight for a zombie movie, but it's still a zombie movie, right?
Yeah.
Like compared to like Baby Driver is really just like it's a fun heist movie, right?
Yeah.
But all his other movies are wacky and zany, like Last Night in Soho, which I'm sure we'll get to at some point. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, you
I don't
recommended
remember.
it to me.
Oh right, yes, I forgot. Yeah, I'm sure we'll get to Last Night in Soho at some point. That one's weird, and then obviously like the Cornetto Trilogy is weird. Scott Pilgrim speaks for itself. Again, we'll probably get to that at some point. But Baby Driver plays it like really straight, and then you kind of think this one's playing it straight at first because it really does just feel like it's a movie about a group of friends kind of reuniting and maybe kind of under the main character realizing that things have changed, you know. But no, it's an apocalypse movie.
It's an apocalypse movie. The setup for this movie is really funny. It's really good. So there's this group of five, the group of five friends.
Yeah, the Five Musketeers.
The Five Musketeers. It's
Actually, it's kind of funny because they call themselves the Five Musketeers at the beginning, and I forget which one, but someone calls it like it's not the Five Musketeers. It's supposed to be the Three Musketeers, and then we get to the end, and yeah, I'll leave that there for now. But it's funny how that comes back later.
So the five friends, we got Gary King, played by Simon Pegg, the genius.
Yeah, he's like the group leader. If you've seen like any like 80s like the Breakfast Club or Ferris Bueller, he's that guy, you know, in the friend group. He's the leader.
Yeah.
He's the cool one. He gets all the girls. He does all the alcohol and the drugs, and he's just super cool, man. He's a cool guy, Gary King. Never wrong.
Yeah, he's never wrong. He's never wrong. And then we got Nick Frost plays Andy. From what Gary says, he was his best friend. But before the events of the movie, Gary got in a drunk driving accident and gave up alcohol. That's gonna
Yeah,
come in later.
yeah, they hadn't spoken like for like over. I think they say he hasn't drank in 16 years. So you can they haven't spoken for at least 16 years before the start of the movie.
Yeah.
You got Oh Man.
Oh man, who
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
want to be
played by
called old man anymore?
yeah, it's played by Martin Freeman. He's our favorite. He's our favorite guy from the MCU.
Yeah, the guy that's not Phil Coulson, the other one. Then we got Patty Consu, whatever the fuck. He plays Steven, and Steven is he's like the ground for the friend group, because they're all married and everything. His life went to shit, but not as much as Gary. Gary's went to shit because he wanted it to go like that. But
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to Gary when we run through the rest
yeah,
of the cast. Gary's compared to the rest of the cast is a different situation, right?
Steven got the short end of the stick because he was trying to get with Sam, who is Peter's sister,
Yeah.
played by Rosamund Pike. And then the last friend is Peter, played by Eddie Marsan. He's in Deadpool 2, and that's all I know him
Yep.
from. Now these five friends, when they were in high school, they grew up in this small town. In this small town, there's 12 bars, 12 pubs, and this town has a tradition called the Golden Mile, where you go to all 12 pubs in one night. And you start at the first post and you end at a bar called the World's End.
Yep.
And they tried doing it. One of
Yeah,
them didn't make it past the fifth pub, and I think they stopped at the eighth pub, or like the ninth pub, or something like that. They
yeah,
couldn't do it.
they didn't make it to. I think that they made it to the ninth because 10 is because in this movie they have like a physical map that they used in high school.
Yeah,
And they mark off the 10th pub, I believe, as like it's the first time where we're here, cross an X on the maps. I'm pretty sure they did 9, but
yeah.
I don't remember.
So then they live their lives. You know, they get married, get jobs, whatever. Life goes on. 20 years later, Gary's like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's try again.
It's important to comment though that like life moved, like after that night that they failed, life moved on for everybody except Gary King. Gary kind of never. I like to quote him in the movie. That night was his peak. His life peaked there, and it was kind of downhill since then. Trying to relive that high, you know. The movie opens with him in an AA meeting, and that's how we get here. Is at the Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. Some guys like, aren't you sad you never finished the Golden Mile? The Golden Mile? You'd make it to the world's end, man. And then he does it. He tries to get all his friends. Like 20 years later, all of them have completely separated themselves from that part of their life. And here comes Gary King with his trench coat and his black hair, looking just like he did in the 80s.
Yeah. And he's like, hey guys, let's fucking do it.
They all go. They all do it.
Yeah, and they all do it. I don't know why. They don't really have a reason to follow him.
I think the reason might just be to relive the glory days, you know, like having one night out with your buddies. I think it makes sense.
Yeah, but they all hate Gary.
They all hate Gary, but like Gary's the glue that like keeps them all together, right? Like when they meet in this movie, like at the train station, it's kind of implied that they all haven't talked to each other. or at least like not really, you
Whoa,
know?
what the? That was weird. You did
Yeah.
a robot voice.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Funny that it was a robot voice.
Yeah,
Maybe I was replaced.
maybe you're
Anyway,
just
um,
replaced.
maybe I was just replaced. But yeah, so like it's kind of implied that these guys haven't talked to each other at all since high school. So like maybe Gary showing up was like, oh yeah, let's relive the glory days for a night. You know, I haven't seen my friends, my quote unquote best friends in 20 years. No, fuck it, let's do it, right? Like, what's the worst that could happen? We're responsible adults now, right? What can happen? What could go wrong? Everything.
So they all get together and they start doing this golden mile. Everything seems fine. You know, Andy orders water and everybody like not everybody else orders beer and Gary's like, "Well, you fucking pussy, huh? You're ordering water." Cuz he's like, "I'm not here to drink. I'm just here to hang out." And they realize that the town is not like it was before. The bars have all mostly been renovated. The first two bars look exactly the same, and it's really funny. And it's that like message from the movie that's like what's the term they keep saying? Everything's being Starbucked. Everything's being Starbucked, I think is what they
Uh,
said.
yeah, I think that's
Because
right.
everything's becoming a Starbucks.
Hmm.
Everything's becoming the same. But the people are acting weird because nobody recognizes them. Nobody's like, "Oh yeah, you're those kids." But you know, it's probably because it was 20 years ago and
Yeah,
no one
I
cares
think
about teenagers.
yeah, like the reason obviously like, it comes up later, but like in the moment, I think everyone like in the group, aside from Gary King, is like yeah, dude, you're Gary King. You're not as important as you think you are, right? Like you were a couple of guys who like just drank and did teenager shit. Like people move on, right? And I mean, everybody moved on. The town moved on. The group moved on, except Gary. So I think that kind of drives him more to want to get this done to get to finish the Golden Mile. And that's what they do. They sure do finish. I can't remember all the bars.
There
Let me pull up
was
the list.
well, you want like the names of the
Yeah, so I have them. Worlds End.
there's let's see. There's the first post.
And the old familiar, the famous cock, the cross hands, the good companion, the trusty servant, two-headed dog, the mermaid. Hold on, or is the mermaid, the beehive, the king's head, the hole in the wall, which is probably the best bar. Always the hole in the wall,
Yeah.
and the world's end, the last one.
The actual like the designs of the bars are all like super cool. They all look great. I would totally hang out at the World's End. It looks like a really fun place. Before all of the destruction, you know, I'm sure it was a nice place.
Yeah. And then, like I got a lot of the well, not a lot of them, but like some of these names end up having like kind of funny meanings for the cast, right? Like there's the bar called the famous cock is the one bar they get thrown out of. That's the one where Gary drinks from like leftover beer outside. It's called the famous cock, and that's the bar he got banned from because when he was a drunken kid. So like he's the famous cock, haha.
Yeah, the first post was
That's
is called that.
self-explanatory.
Yeah, that's the first one, but it's also because apparently that was the city's first post office. And then the old familiar is called that because both bars look exactly the same.
Yeah, and like the good companion is the one. That's the bar they go to after they learn what's going on in the town, and like they have to pretend to be enjoying the Golden Mile while they're actually secretly like looking out for everybody and seeing who they can trust.
Yeah, and the sign for the good companion is four blue faces and one golden face.
Yeah,
So the four blue faces are the people.
yeah, exactly. The quote unquote people. The trusty servant is when they meet Gary's old drug dealer friend who's like not like he's in on it, but he's a human. He's one of them.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, and the cross hands. That's the one where they fight in the bathroom. So the cross hands, you know, like they were fighting.
Mhm.
That's before the good companions.
Yeah, then
Two-headed dog. I don't know why it's called that.
I wouldn't. I don't know.
Let me.
Oh, okay. Wait. Hold on. I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
reading it.
the two-headed dog is where they fight the twins.
Oh yeah. Oh okay. Look, there's a. Okay, I'm reading this from a Screen Rant. Apparently there being twins is like a motif in the Cornetto trilogy. Oh yeah, okay, because there's twin zombies in Shaun of the Dead. Then there's Bill Bailey who plays two twins in Hot Fuzz. And then in The World's End, Sam meets up with two twins she used to be friends with in The Two-Headed Dog.
And then they attack her.
Yeah. Then The Mermaid is not a pub; it's a club. I don't know why that counts.
Well, it probably used to be it used to be a bar, right? Then it became a club.
It's called The Mermaid because in like apparently according to Screen Rant in like traditional stories, mermaids used to lure sailors to their death, and that's what happens in the pub because the marmalade
Marmalade
sandwich.
Which is it's a redheaded two blondes that the gang all wanted to get with, and Gary did get with back in the day, you know.
Yeah. Then the beehive is when they meet up with their old professor from school, and it's a what's his name?
Here's Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan, which is really funny because in Hot Fuzz Timothy Dalton was in it and he was also James Bond.
Yeah.
So that's pretty funny. Yeah, the beehive is when they learn about the whole idea of these
The hive
people.
mind of robots. We'll get to that.
Then we got the King's Head.
I don't know this one.
I don't know this one. On the website it says Gary King banged his head against the wall. So
The King's Head. The hole in the wall is funny. It's a funny one because this is the scene where they drive the car through the wall.
yeah.
To escape. Yeah. So they're a literal hole in the wall.
And also, if I'm gonna be nitpicky here, they didn't actually finish the they didn't finish the Golden Mile to begin with because he didn't end up getting a drink at the World's End, but he didn't drink at the King's Head either.
He didn't drink at the King's Head or the hole in the wall. Like all three. The last three he didn't drink at. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
he didn't drink at. And then the World's End is called that because that's the end.
That's the end of the Golden Mile, but it's also the World's End.
It's also the World's End. Ah.
We've been tiptoeing around it kind of, but we did say earlier it's an apocalypse movie.
Yeah, and there's something weird happening in this town.
Yeah. The reason everyone seems weird is because most of the town has been replaced by robots.
Robot aliens.
Yeah, robot aliens. Except for like a handful of people, I think there's like three in the end who weren't replaced, but they know what's going on and they just go along with it. Like they just like so they don't die, right? So yep, we'll go along with you robots because if you don't go along with them, they replace you.
Yeah, so these aliens they invaded Earth not just in this town, like they planted themselves, their hive mind, and they planted themselves in random spots around the Earth. This town happened to be one of them, and they were like they would go around and ask people if they want to be part of their conglomerate, part of their hive mind. And if you accepted, then you joined the hive mind and you wouldn't be replaced. And if you didn't accept, they would kill you, replace you with a robot replica, which would be part of the hive mind. But the replica would not be able to replicate like stuff that was added to you after your holy shit, it's like The Thing.
Yeah, they're not able to replicate like things that changed about you after they got your DNA, which is from the town. So like, they have the DNA of the gang, and we know this because two of them end up getting replaced. But like when Old Man is replaced, they're not like they're able to replicate him with the scar. That's why he's named Old Man. He's named after that because of his scar. But like later in life, he got the scar removed like surgically. But the robots can't copy that, so he still has the scar as an adult when he's replaced, and that's how Andy figures out that something is wrong with him, because he notices the scar.
Yeah.
And also, you're replaced by a robot when you're overly happy.
Yeah, like if you've if you like have like no real semblance of what's really happening. Like you're like, oh man, we gotta get the fuck out of here. There's people trying to kill us. And if you're like, no, we're fine. Come on, let's finish the Golden Mile. Let's do it. Come on, you're a fucking replacement. I'm gonna shoot you.
Yep.
And they have like blue blood. Now
Yeah.
they call them blanks. The way they try to figure out who's a blank and who's not, I feel like they have a really simple way of doing it. They're in a bar, and there's glass everywhere. Like if they just break a glass and then like cut a little bit of their finger, if the blood is blue, you're not a human.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically.
I was thinking that the whole movie. Why wouldn't they do that? But I guess they caught on really quickly that Oliver was a blank.
Yeah. Like Nick Frost's character catches on immediately, basically, and like we go to the mermaid, and then after the mermaid, it's revealed that he's a blank.
Yeah, and actually, Nick Frost catching on early is a motif throughout the whole Cornetto trilogy. Like in Shaun of the Dead, he's like something weird is happening. I don't know. There's people are acting weird, and in Hot Fuzz, he's suspecting his father before everything even starts. And in this movie, he's like, Oliver's acting a bit weird. I don't know what's going on. The town has changed.
He's the smartest character in these movies.
Yep, but I don't know. Gary's never wrong. So if Gary's okay, it's okay.
We didn't get into it, but like but just to put it out there, the goal of this alien robot overlord is to create a perfect like society in the universe, basically. Like they've been replacing people all across the galaxy too, like other aliens and shit with their hive mind, and they're just trying to create a perfect society where everyone is happy and on the same page and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And they came to Earth, where we're a bunch of fuck ups. That'll come up later.
Yeah, they basically just try to take over the whole universe is what they're trying to do, and get everybody to follow their laws and stuff, whatever, like making like a galactic federation empire, whatever. But anyways, all of this is just the backdrop for Gary's stupid fucking brain, because he's just doesn't care. He's just trying to do the Golden Mile. He doesn't even care if some of his friends get lost along the way. His whole goal is just to finish this Golden Mile and get a drink at every pub.
Yeah, basically, like it's revealed later that we know Gary's in AA because that's how the movie starts, and you know that he clearly has a substance abuse problem, and it's later just straight up said that like he has nothing left to live for, basically. Like Gary King was all about doing what he wanted to do when he wanted to do it, living his life to the fullest. And since he was put into AA and became an addict, he doesn't have control anymore. To quote him, they tell him when to go to sleep. You know, and so like that's like his way of just like spelling it out to the audience. Like he has no control anymore. You know, he has to follow life by a schedule, and he's unhappy. And like the Golden Mile and drinking is all he has left. So that's why he's so dead set. It's sad. That seems really it's him arguing with Nick Frost, who was supposed to be or supposedly his best friend, but they took two very different paths in life, and they're both kind of unhappy. And it's a really sad scene with them arguing, and yeah, I felt it. I got a little
Yeah.
emotional.
It's not a happy story. It's a story about, you know, substance abuse and like never growing up, never really like starting adulthood. His brain has always been in that teenage mindset of just partying and doing whatever he wants whenever he wants. That's not how the world works, you know?
Yeah, that's and maybe in this ideal society that the robots we're gonna create, that would be the case, and they even have like a replacement of Gary King, like as a like 18-year-old, as a 20-year-old, and he could have lived a life just being able to do what he wanted. The thing with that is, when you're a replacement, you're a slave to that system too. So the only freedom you have is to rebel. In this case, right? So,
Yep.
rebel against the robots, against his AA people, which you shouldn't do, but whatever. You know, The only way for Gary King to rebel is to fight.
Yeah.
And I think the ending for Gary is interesting. Like it kind of relates to that where he finds a purpose again.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that
We'll
when
get
we
there
get to
later.
the
Yeah.
ending. But yeah, once they all catch on about the robots and everything, obviously they're like, we gotta get out of here. Let's go home. And at that point, all of them are pretty drunk, so none of them could drive, and they've already been stopped by a cop earlier before they get to the town.
Yeah, a cop who was replaced.
Yeah, a cop who was replaced. So they all turn to Andy because he hasn't been drinking all night. But guess what? He just took like 15 shots.
Yeah, he gives in. He's like, "This is crazy. I'm just gonna drink."
You know what? While we were watching this at first, I was thinking that they would all think that Gary is crazy and all this, and that this was just a weird drug trip that only Gary was experiencing, and everybody else was like, "Dude, you're fucking crazy."
Well,
But
no,
it was real.
Yeah,
It
no,
was
it's real.
because at the third bar at the Crossed Hands, is that what it was called? I already forgot.
Yes.
Yeah, at
Yeah, the
scrolling.
cross hands. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the fourth. It's the fourth one.
The fourth bar, at the Cross Hands, when he goes to the bathroom and there's that really cool fight scene with the teenagers. That's their first encounter with the robots. I thought right before he went to use the urinal, he snorted cocaine because they reference him being addicted to cocaine throughout the whole movie. So I thought this was just a really weird drug trip at first, but no, it was real.
Yeah, and he does like they when they meet their old drug dealer friend, he does say like, "I'm gonna go talk to him to see if he's, if he's one of them or buy drugs."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and their drug dealer friend, his name is Basil. He's hilarious. He was in Hot Fuzz. I forgot who he was though. Oh, he was the guy they couldn't understand, the guy who had the bomb in his shed.
he's also in that franchise of movies I still haven't finished.
Oh yeah, that one.
And he's in Captain America.
He's in that and Captain America. Wow.
Yeah. I was gonna say it, but it's a touchy subject, so I'm not going to.
Yeah, and he's also Geppetto in the Guillermo del Toro Pinocchio movie.
Yeah, I did not know that until I opened the Letterboxd page. I need to watch that. You watched that yesterday. I need to.
I did.
haven't seen it.
I watched it yesterday. We
I have not seen
we
it
might
yet.
talk about it on our Oscars episode.
Yep, we just might. I mean, yeah, I'm planning to watch it soon. He's in Doctor Who. Who's he playing?
Okay, we're getting out of
Oh, he's the first Doctor.
David Bradley.
Yeah, he plays the first Doctor in the Christmas special.
Yeah, because that doesn't make sense. He can't be the first Doctor.
Yeah,
But
he's recasted as the first Doctor in the two recent Christmas specials.
all right. The World's End. We're talking about the World's End.
That was a rabbit hole. I apologize.
The David Bradley rabbit hole. This is gonna be like the Dune episode. Come on, we gotta stick to it. So this Basil guy, he accepted into the hive mind, so he wasn't replaced. He becomes a very important character later because he joins I was gonna say Fantastic Five. That's the wrong joke. The Five Musketeers. He joins the Five Musketeers in their battle for revolution.
Yeah. He's also the one that tells
Steven.
Steven like everything. At the mermaid, he like takes Steven aside and like literally just tells him everything. Well, by that point, they're the four musketeers. But,
Oh yeah, by that point they're the Four Musketeers, but you don't know it yet. So yeah, one by one they start dying. So Oliver got replaced, O-Man got replaced, and they found out, and they took care of him. At what was the bar where they killed him? At the Trusty Servant, wasn't it?
where they kill whom?
Oliver. Oh no, it was at the Beehive where they kill him.
Yeah.
They kill him at the Beehive, and then from the Beehive on their way to the King's Head. In a really funny scene because they all decide, even Gary decides, okay, we have to stop, we have to go. So like we forgot to talk about Sam. So Gary actually sends Sam away at one point, like because she didn't drink, so she's like, here's like get in your car, get the fuck out.
Yeah, like leave. Like it's dangerous. Leave, get help, whatever. You know.
She doesn't come back until later, but then everyone else is like, okay, we got to find our own way out because stupid Gary sent her away without anybody else. So they were like, okay, we got to get to the beast.
Yeah, the beast is Gary's car, quote unquote Gary's car.
Quote unquote Gary's car, because it's actually under Oliver's name. Because he sold it to him.
He sold it to him in the 80s, but they never actually like changed the name on the papers.
So then they get to the beast, but their way there is blocked by the king's head. Like they're trying to get away from the Golden Mile, but on the way to get back to leave, they have to go through the king's head. So obviously Gary's like, okay, with the Golden Mile's back on, we're trying this again. He doesn't end up getting the drink, so the Golden Mile is already broken. But at that point,
it's more about surviving.
Yeah, at that point, it's more about surviving. So once they leave the king's head, they lose Peter on the way. Peter, Peter, that was his name. They lose Peter on the way. He gets brutally murdered by the blanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now it's actually just the Three Musketeers.
And it comes around. They're the Three Musketeers.
Yeah, just like every Edgar Wright movie, it all comes full circle. Then they make it to the hole in the wall where Sam comes. No, Sam doesn't come back with the car. Steve comes back with the car.
Yeah.
But the car gets destroyed. And then they make it to the world's end.
Yeah, they run to the world's end. Basically, like they run across like a wave of enemies. It's funny.
They finally make it to the world's end. And this is like the base of operations for the aliens. So they find like the secret room to get inside the secret lair of the aliens, and this is where like the main hive mind explains the whole purpose of everything.
Yeah, you get like the rundown of their plan. It's what we said earlier. You know, it's just we're gonna make this perfect society, and you guys are never gonna have to think or be stressed or have a bad day ever again because it's gonna be perfect. But you'll have no control.
The voice of the thing, it's called the network. It's I just had him. There it is. Bill Nighy. I don't know. It's Nighy. I don't know how to say that, but he's in every Edgar Wright movie, so that's cool.
Oh, is he? I didn't know that.
Yeah, in Hot Fuzz, he was Philip. I don't remember who Philip is. It was a while ago since we watched it. And in, I mean, not in Hot Fuzz. In Shaun of the Dead, he was Philip. In Hot Fuzz, he was Sergeant Turner. No,
Okay.
that was Bill Bailey. Sorry, that's a different Bill.
Bill,
he was the chief inspector.
Okay.
Bill Nye the Science Guy. He was also in Detective Pikachu.
And we saw a lot of actors from Detective Pikachu in movies recently, huh?
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that movie later?
Yeah, we can get into it briefly because we're not doing an episode.
Yeah. But yeah, so he's like, no, we're not joining your hive mind, and they convince the network that humans aren't even worth it. Because humans are the most fucking stubborn living beings in the universe.
My favorite line in this movie is fucking it's Gary King just drunk off his ass. It's like it's our basic human right to be fuck ups. It's so funny.
And the network, he's been like talking really nice and like very articulately, and at the end he's just like, fuck it. And he gives up, he leaves.
Fuck it and leaves.
But when he left, he was angry. He was very angry. So he blew up every single electronic device on Earth, which basically means he destroyed the world.
Yeah, we're right back to the Stone Age.
And that's how the movie ends. We got like this little montage of where are they now, like what happened to everybody after after Armageddon, basically, after the world's end. So eventually the blanks came back to life just on their own. And they just started living normal lives alongside humans, kind of like what happened at the end of Shaun of the Dead.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Yeah,
that is.
and what happened with Gary is he basically became Mad Max.
Yeah, he goes around with like a squad of blanks. And he finally found his purpose in life is he doesn't need to drink. He just wanted an adventure to match the Golden Mile, and he found it.
Yeah.
And again, we come full circle in the ending again because Gary King goes to a bar in I'm just gonna call it the Wasteland, and he orders a water. Well, 4 waters, 5 waters. I don't know, whatever an amount of waters. He orders waters is the point because he left alcohol behind him because now he has a purpose again.
Yep.
It's to run with a sword and kill people who want to get in the way of his adventure.
The ending is a pretty controversial part of this movie because not everybody likes it. Not everybody likes this movie to begin with.
I think it's the weakest of the Cornetto Trilogy.
I think so too. I also think it's the weakest of the Cornetto trilogy. It doesn't mean it's a bad movie though.
Yeah, it's not bad. I also think it's Edgar Wright's weakest movie of his of the popular ones. Like of the big ones, I think it's the weakest one.
I thought you said Baby Driver was his weakest movie. Have you come around?
I think I've come around, yeah.
Whoa. I remember like
both are really good. I like both a lot. I think this one is back at the bottom though. And this is me saying that after saying I did enjoy it more on this revisit than I remember enjoying it the first time. But yeah, I think this is his worst. Or I'm not gonna say worst, least good.
His least good popular movie because there's still Grindhouse and the Sparks Brothers and Fistful of Fingers. Those are not like the super popular ones. We might still watch them though.
Oh yeah,
I do want to watch Grindhouse. It's a 4-hour long movie, so that's good. we will. I guess we've already like hinted at it a bunch, but I guess we'll finally come out and say it. We are gonna do episodes on every Edgar Wright movie. So the marathon isn't technically over,
but the Cornetto Trilogy.
The Cornetto Trilogy is over.
Yeah, I like. Edgar Wright's my favorite director in Hollywood right now, so next is Scott Pilgrim, I think. So that's going to be exciting to talk about, I think.
Yeah, it should be noted that Scott Pilgrim came out before the World's End, but we wanted to finish up the Cornetto trilogy first before moving on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I gave this. We didn't talk about our ratings. I gave it 3.5 stars.
I also gave it 3.5 stars. I think that's the same score I gave Baby Driver. So like they're like comparable. I like them both, but I think it's a situation where like something has to be at the bottom, right?
Yeah, it's like that. For me it's Scott Pilgrim. I think that's the bottom one.
That's fair.
I think Baby Driver is his best movie. That's one of my 5-star movies.
Yeah, we've talked about it at length off camera. But yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, can't wait to do an episode on that. But that's gonna be in a while.
Baby Driver is going to be a fun one for sure, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Just talking about the music in that movie is going to be fun. But do you have anything else to add to The World's End?
Not really. I think this movie's a lot of fun. I think definitely like compared to some other things I've watched recently, like just like if I could think back on the stuff I've watched recently, it's probably the most fun I've had just sitting down and watching a movie.
Yeah, me too.
Which is nice because, enjoying movies is nice.
Yeah, they're meant to be enjoyed, right? So
yeah, they're meant to be, and unlike something I watched recently that wasn't good, this one was fun. That was good.
Yeah, we could talk about that briefly.
Sure.
You want to do that now?
If we're done with not Hot Fuzz, we're done with The World's End.
I mean, yeah, we're pretty much done with The World's End. I mean, it's a short movie. It's a comedy, so there's not a lot to talk about. But if you haven't seen it, it's still a worth watch. If you haven't seen the Cornetto trilogy, that's a fun marathon to go through. Those 3 movies are all hilarious. They're all good, and yeah, there's a good end to the Cornetto trilogy. I'm gonna miss it.
Definitely, it's definitely a good conclusion.
I'm gonna miss it.
Same.
Well, Moving on to a little bit of TV show stuff going on. The Last of Us is still happening, and it's still good.
We have 2 more episodes of The Last of Us under our belt. We have another episode airing tonight after the recording, but we're recording now, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Schedules be damned.
Yeah. Last of Us is fantastic.
Yeah, the last 2 episodes.
Shocker, I know, but it continues to be fantastic. It's becoming one of my favorite TV shows, actually, and that's crazy to me.
Yeah, it might go up there. Yeah, it's not going to beat The Office, but it's
No,
going
it's
up.
not gonna ever be number one, but it's like on my list, which is insane because I watch a lot of TV.
I wish there was a Letterboxd for TV shows.
I wish TV shows were on Letterboxd.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. So The Last of Us, the last 2 episodes were both really, really, really good. Remind me, it was the one with it's the one where they. I remember what the last episode was, but the one before that was the one with the two brothers, right?
The 2 brothers and then Tommy.
We didn't talk about that in the last episode.
The 2 brothers? No.
Okay, I thought we did.
Wait, did we? You might have.
Well, okay, just in case we didn't, the episode with the 2 brothers, so good, it might be better than the game.
Yeah, I agree.
Than that portion of the game. But anyways, the next episode after that was another like video gamey part. Because it's Joel gets kind of fucked up, and then you play as Ellie for a while. And right before that, because they infiltrate this base and there's a lot of fighting and gunplay going on. It's like video game part, there's gameplay happening. And again, they translate that into a TV show really, really well, just like what they did with episode 3. It was so good. This show is so good.
This show continues to be like fantastic, and I'm so happy with it. I'm happy to say we have a good adaptation. We have good TV. Like, it's not even just a good video game adaptation. I've said this every time we talked about The Last of Us, but it's just genuinely good television.
Yeah, this is probably the best. This has to be the best video game adaptation I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, no, bar none. Like it is the best.
Like the only things that come close are like Arcane and Cyberpunk Edgerunners.
Yeah, Arcane's really good. Edgerunners is really good. This is really good.
But The Last of Us is
best. Like Arcane and Edgerunners aren't. I mean, they're based on games, but they're not adaptations, right? Like
yeah, that's true. Well, the Game Awards counts them as adaptations.
Yeah, I guess, but like they're in, But this is actually a straight adaptation.
Oh yeah, speaking of the Game Awards, this is probably going to win Best Adaptation at the Game Awards for sure.
Oh yeah.
It has to, for sure. That or the Mario movie, if it ends up being really good.
Let's hope it's really good. It looks really good.
It does, actually. It does.
If you wanna hear our thoughts on that, we're definitely going to be covering it. Maybe with some guests.
Ooh, we'll see. But yeah, that's our update on The Last of Us. Moving on to Backloggd, the segment where we recommend each other movies to talk about in the next episode. Last episode, I recommended Pat the Angry Birds movie 2 because I wanted him to suffer.
Do I have to?
Well, yeah.
I have to talk about it. I did watch it.
You have a legal obligation to talk about it.
I did watch it.
So how was it?
It was bad, but it was less bad than the other one.
That's all I needed to hear.
Yeah.
I stand by this. I will die on this hill. That if this movie was anything other than Angry Birds, it would be hilarious.
I don't know about hilarious, but yeah, I don't know.
If it was like original characters and it had nothing to do with Angry Birds, people would give this like 3.5 stars. But I have a feeling like the only reason people are giving this less than 2.5 is because it's a sequel to the Angry Birds movie, and the Angry Birds movie was really bad. But I think this movie is really funny. I like it a lot. I quote it sometimes. It's funny. It's a funny movie.
Funny is a word.
I gave it 3 stars.
I gave it like 2 or 2.5.
See?
I don't know if I enjoyed it, but I didn't hate it either.
I enjoyed this movie. I like it.
That's about all you're getting out of me for that.
Yeah.
I think it is not a complete waste of time.
Angry Birds 2, not a complete waste of time.
Are there better uses of your time? Yes.
Yeah, but I'd rather watch this over Ant-Man again.
No, actually, yeah, no. No, I wouldn't.
I would.
I'm happy for you for feeling that way, but I don't agree.
Well, you have to recommend me something. So.
I know. I actually there's something on your on your list that really like stuck out to me. Actually, it's a dumb movie that I have a weird history with. But Lib, you haven't seen Superbad.
I haven't seen Superbad.
You're gonna watch Superbad.
I'm gonna watch Superbad.
Yeah, and maybe we could watch Superbad together because I love this movie. I gave this movie 5 stars. It is a shitpost 5 stars, but 5 stars nonetheless.
Is the movie super bad?
No, it's good.
Eh?
I do like it.
I'm so funny.
See how I didn't acknowledge you.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're gonna talk about Superbad. This movie has a reputation. Can we talk about it on this show?
Superbad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Isn't there shit in this movie?
Yeah, but this is a lot of sex and drugs and stuff. We can touch on that.
All right. Well, hopefully, we don't anger the internet gods by
No,
talking about Superbad.
No, it'll be fine.
But yeah, that's interesting. Good pick, and that's gonna be it for today's episode. Oh, thank you all so much for listening. And make sure to tune in next episode because that's gonna be a good one. Because we're talking about Creed 3.
Yep, it's time. We're coming back to Rocky. As our whole marathon was leading into Creed 3.
Yeah, that's the whole reason we did this, and that's the whole reason the show exists, is to talk about Creed 3.
The podcast exists because Creed 3 exists.
Make sure to tune in to hear us talk about Creed 3, and to do that, all you gotta do is follow us on Spotify or subscribe to us on YouTube or anywhere. Follow us on your favorite podcast app so that you never miss an episode when we upload one. Also, make sure to check out the Linktree, linktr.ee/freshoffthereel. No spaces, no caps. There you'll also find a form to fill out that you could fill out to recommend us a movie or a TV show, and then we'll make an episode about it. Also on the Linktree, you could find our socials. Such as Twitter and or Instagram. I think that's what the kids use these days.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, we don't have a TikTok.
Yeah.
Do you know how to use TikTok? Because I don't.
Not really, kind of. But
we'll look into it. But that should be it. So we will see all of you in Ethereum. Bye.
Bye-bye.
This is a sound test.
This is hold on, I forgot to turn off my fridge.
Okay. While he's turning off his fridge, I'll talk about what I'm drinking. I made coffee and I put ice in it. It's called iced coffee. It's an invention I came up with and no one else has done it before.
Yo, I want iced coffee.
How the fuck do you know what iced coffee is? I just invented it.
I invented it. What do you mean?
What? I just invented it this morning.
Okay, so the thing I want to talk about was I really wish Kirby's Return to Dreamland, whatever remaster, had it online because I really want to buy it. I really want to play it, but like, it's $90, right? For a game I already have on my shelf behind me.
On the Wii.
Yeah. And if it had multiplayer, like online multiplayer, that would have been enough for me to justify the purchase, right? But it doesn't. So it doesn't. That's all I have to say.
Well, yeah.
I'm sad because I want to enjoy Kirby. And I might still buy it at some point, but like not right now.
I might get it.
It's a really, like, if you've never played Return to Dreamland, it's a really, really good Kirby game. It's a really solid Kirby game. One of the better ones.
The only Kirby game I've ever played was Air Ride. Only Kirby game I've ever played.
Yeah, Return to Dreamland is really good. It's in my top 100. We good?
Yeah.